got a Jeep, the screen's messing up. Maybe you're getting some phantom touches. It just starts boop, 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 boop. It's changing your radio stations, it's calling people, it's changing your climate, all that stuff. Or maybe you've got white lines straight up and down. You got to replace that screen. Maybe there's a crack in it. Who knows? You are going to be able to do this yourself. You're going to have a fix that's better than the dealership could offer. We'll go through that later. And it's not going to take a whole lot of time, and it's not going to cost a whole lot of money. So let's get started. So you can skip this part if you want. This is just an explanation of what is actually happening and why we bought the screen that we bought, and why we're not going to the dealership to get this fixed. So you've got a screen and you've got a digitizer. The screen is the protective glass. The digitizer is what picks up your finger touching. Okay, they're really close to each other, and there is some genius engineer that thought they'd put some adhesive in between that. Well, if you're in a climate that gets really hot, that adhesive eventually melts, and then it kind of slides. And then once things heat up, cool down, then that adhesive, the digitizer is just not, it's not doing what it should do. It's all over the place. That's why you get the random touching. It's because that adhesive has made it feel like you're touching random places. Okay? We bought the screen that we bought because it is bonded without that adhesive. The problem's gone. The source of the problem is gone. Jeep knows about this, and maybe you've talked to your dealership and they've offered that the Jeep Cares program will pay for this. That some people have had that experience. I did not have that experience. The dealership wanted to charge me $170 just to diagnose the issue, even though they knew what it was. Like, hey, were you experiencing this? Are you experiencing this? Yeah. Well, it's going to be this. But we still need to do a diagnostic on it. Cool. Well, for just a little bit more than the price of that diagnostic, I got this fixed permanently. See, I've read threads where after the diagnostic, they say we need to replace the whole unit. It's going to be anywhere from $1,200 to $2,000, and it takes a couple days of your Jeep in the shop. When they replace it with the same OEM screen that has the same makeup. So this thing, it's just a matter of time before it's going to happen again. My Jeep made it to like 90,000 miles before this was an issue, but who knows? It could happen at any time. It just takes the temperature, getting that adhesive to the right temperature, and then boom, you're back at it again. So that's why you're doing this the way that you're doing it. Yeah, so let's get back to the video. Okay, here's a picture of everything you're going to need to complete this. So you've got a Phillips head screwdriver, you've got some pry tools, an auto trim and molding tool set. I got this at Harbor Freight, the whole pack for like $10. And then this is a screwdriver set that was built for electronics. Specifically for the 2019 Jeep Cherokee, you need the T6 and the T9. If you've got a different model, you may only need the T9, but that again was like less than $10 on Amazon. There are also some models that require some silicone adhesive. This is not one of those models, so you're not going to see that in this video. But if you need that, just look online. Silicone adhesive, just a small little tube that'll fit in your hand will be more than enough. Don't be scared. You can do this, and these are all the tools you're going to need. Okay, today we are going to be fixing this phantom touch, ghost touch issue that is a known issue with some of the Jeep Uconnect screens with, I don't know, it's like 2015 to 2020, something like that. But we're going to fix that today. And what we're going to do is replace the screen and the digitizer with one that is not OEM, because the problem is a manufacturer defect. It was made poorly. So I'll have a link to a screen that was made the way that it should be. More on that later. But basically what we're going to have to do is we have to get in here. To get in here, we have to take this off. We're going to take this plastic piece off, and then we are going to get the screen out. We're going to go inside, replace the screen, and we're going to come back out here and put it all together. Anybody's going to be able to do this. If you are even remotely, I'm not going to say handy, but if you are willing to watch this video and try to figure this out, you're going to be able to do this. So the first part of this, all you're going to need is using this pry tool, which I got in a kit from Harbor Freight. It had all different kinds of sizes and stuff. I'm going to use this smaller one. We're going to get at it. And a Phillips head screwdriver. So let's get started. First thing we're going to do is turn the car off. So what you want to do is right below where that bend is, you can use the larger one and kind of pop it right in there, and that loosens it up. You're going to hear a pop. Don't be scared. And do the same thing on the other side. so you can see that. And you just have to put that down right here in front of your shifter knob. I'm going to take the Phillips head and we're going to get this right here and right here. Don't lose your screws. Okay, next we have to do the same thing to get this plastic bezel off. I'm going to put the fat pry bar there and there. Okay, after a little bit of fidgeting with the larger pry bar, I had the most success with this curved shape, fitting it under here. The clip is about right here, so I'm going to do the same thing over here. That one came out a lot quicker. We've got two more clips, I think up around here. Okay, I was finally able to get this one loose. Right up this plastic piece, the clip is somewhere in here, so I'm going to do the same thing over here. Okay, I've never done anything like that before, and I had to use a lot of force, and at some points, it even sounds like you're breaking something. But you can slide that right out. You can see all the clips are fine, not broken anything, and there is one connector that you have to disconnect here. There's a little tab you can feel. You just kind of pinch that, pull it out. This you can kind of set over to the side for now. Now that we've got that, we get our Phillips back. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4 more mounting screws here. Be able to pull that out now. You're going to see that there's a couple things connecting this. I see 1, 2, 3, 4 different wires. So we're just going to disconnect those. So again, you've got this little clip on the white one here. I'm going to pull that up, pull it out. Same thing with the yellow. Pinch that little clip, pull it up. This clip here has got a little pry to it there. So I'm going to get that up first. Once that's up, it slides right out. And then there's one more down here. And again, we're going to pinch and wiggle that out. Got your screen out. Now we're going to go inside and we're going to replace this with a new one. Okay, so we're inside here. We got to get this case off. So I'm seeing some clips here and here. We've got some screws on that side, screws on that side, more clips. Make sure we've got the right size here. Yep, so this is going to take a T9 bit. If you have any kind of like electronics screwdriver there, this is the T9 Torx bit. So I'm just going to get these screws out that I've pointed out. Feels like there might be another screw or two. Sure is. So we've got 2 here. Grab those.
Sorry, I was peeing during the video. Sorry, you had to pee.
Okay, I've pulled that up pretty hard. It came up really easily after I got those screws out. We've got one of these ribbon connectors, and we've got to be super careful with those. And I'm hoping that I didn't damage this. It doesn't look like I did, but they just kind of slip in and out right here, as you can see. So be a lot more careful than I just was, but I think we're okay here. So I'm going to go grab the other screen. So we're back with the new screen here. You can see that this ribbon comes connected, so we'll just have to find a way to disconnect it from up here. And this ribbon, we really need to make sure that it stays in there, but this was always going to come out. So it didn't come out exactly like you would draw it up, but we are going to be just fine. So looks like what we need to do is get this screen out. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4 more screws to get out. So, okay, of course these are a little bit smaller. So we've been using the T9 bit this whole time, but now we have to switch to a T6. But again, if you've got that electronics set, it probably came with it. So we're going to go ahead and unscrew these. Okay, those are out. So I'm just going to push from the bottom here. Okay, I mentioned earlier that some models have silicone adhesive. So if you're looking at your screen and it looks a little bit different, when you pull up those screws, there's still, you can see the adhesive around the outside. Just take a utility knife and cut that adhesive, and then just pull the screen up, and then just clean out all of that extra adhesive. You should be able to just use your fingernail or maybe the utility knife. Just be careful. Just scrape that stuff up and just pull it out. No big deal. And then when we seat the screen back in, you're going to take that adhesive that you bought, put a little bit around the edge, and then just take it with your finger and smooth it out. Super easy. Comes up very easily. So again, being careful of this ribbon. Gonna pick that up, lay that down, get these screws out that I couldn't get to. Okay, so looking at this whole thing, we're switching this, and we're keeping the notch on the plastic casing down facing us. So in doing that, I'm going to go ahead and clean this off a little bit. I'm going to open up the new screen. Anytime you're about to touch electrical material, it's a good idea to ground yourself. So if you're not wearing gloves or anything, make sure that any shock that may be in your system, you ground yourself. Make sure that doesn't happen. With this screen, the packaging is the screen protector. So as you slide that off, lay that gently into place. I'm going to lift the case up so that when I drop this other side in, it doesn't hit any solid surface. And so the new screen is in place. So now we have to work on these ribbons. So I'm going to move this out of the way for a second. For this ribbon here, this is what we're going to be replacing. This is the connector, and you can see that there's a little lip up here, this little silver thing that is holding this in. So all you're going to do is just kind of take your thumb and lift up on that lift. I'm going to get my fingernail under there, lift up on that lip, and this ribbon will come right out. Does not take a whole lot of force. So with that, we can get this old screen out of here, bring this new screen in. Okay, so we need to install this white ribbon cable right here, and what you're going to see is this little black plastic piece. It just rotates up 90 degrees, and usually there's like some kind of connector that holds that in place, but it's not there. So that's why it was so easy for this to come out. So anyway, all you're going to do is you're going to have that up. You're going to place the ribbon in there. So it's going to come all the way out and then underneath so that these connection points are in there. You're going to close that. And then as we seat this casing back on this, it's going to hold it tight to where, like, I guess that's the latch. The other piece is we need to get this orange ribbon cable into that same spot that we did before. So with that, we're going to have the lettering facing us. It's going to be kind of on top here. And again, we're going to lift up with our fingernail on that little metal piece as we slide that in. There's a little white line that's an indicator of where that should meet up there. So it doesn't take a lot of force again, but it's snugly in there. This is going to lose some of my sight here, but I've flipped up that black piece. I'm going to slide this ribbon in there, close the black piece, and then I'm going to lay this right back down on where it goes. So it's going to be really difficult to show in the camera. Okay, for the ribbon cable, you can see that there's these little notches down here, okay? Those are going to seat nicely within here. So it's not going to be seated out here on the outside of this. It's actually going to be seated on the inside. So there you can see a little plastic piece that's right inside of here, and it has a little room for the little notch next to the connectors. So just make sure that that little notch right here and right over here on the other side is actually on the inside of these little plastic pieces here. Once we do that, we're going to be able to close this, and it's going to be a little more snug than it is currently. So you can see now that the ribbon is in. I've got the black piece down. It's pretty snug there, so it's not just going to come out anymore. So again, you shouldn't see that little blue notch right here from the ribbon. It should be on the inside of that, and then when you push down that black piece, like I said, it's going to feel a little more snug there. Once we have those two ribbons in place, okay, so probably should have done this before, but wanted to make sure that I could get in there. So I have to get these screws back in. So I'm going to go back here. You should, like I said, probably do this beforehand. Put that in the video here. So we've got our T6 back. We're going to get these screws back in here. Now we're going to slide this back in. So we had our clips here and on the other side. So what I'm going to do is kind of angle this side in to get it underneath there. Slide it in kind of snug. Turn that around, and I'm going to pull this plastic out. Kind of slide it in a little bit like that. And you heard that snap into place. And so next what we're going to do is change our bit from the T6 back to the T9. And then we've got the 6 screws. So I'm going to start with these here. Now we've got the other 4 screws. They're going to go on the sides here. That's that. Time to go put it back in the Jeep. We're back in the Jeep. We've got our new screen and housing. We've got, what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, maybe, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. we've got 4, and then that 5th one actually plugs into the plastic dash piece. So anyway, we've got 4 to reconnect here, and then you're gonna have 1 hanging out back here. Everything's color coded. So you've got this big one that's very obvious, but then you've got a gray, a yellow, and a white. You've got a gray terminal, a yellow terminal, and a white terminal. You can see on the terminals there's a little plastic piece that kind of sticks up a little bit, and on each of these clips you'll see a little spot where that plastic piece goes. So that tells you which one goes where and which orientation it goes. So I'm going to go ahead and plug those in. It just slides right on, and then you hear a little click. With this one here, you'll remember that there was this little piece that goes like that. So what we're going to do is, so that's only going to fit one way. So this plastic clip goes at the top, and we're going to make sure that that wire, I'm in the driver's seat, that needs to close toward me in the driver's seat. So you put it in, it goes very easily, no force. Put it in most of the way, and then just slide that down to make it nice and snug. Got the white over here, the yellow over here. The white's toward the passenger seat. And then got one more, which is the gray. And again, no force necessary. So I'm gonna just place that thing right back in the dash. Going to put just one screw in so that we can test this bad boy out. And now is the moment of truth. Look at that. Look at that. We got a screen. It's loading. It does say for this particular screen that there may be some issues with the software at the very beginning. So if you've got some weird looking things, if you've got some things that are, right now I don't have a temperature, it just said, just drive it. Drive it a couple times and everything's going to sync and get back to where it needs to go. So don't worry about that. If you've got power at all, go drive it. Hopefully you're seeing what I see. I've got the software running. Everything looks good. I'm going to put everything back together. But just to say, if you see some weird things, that may be part of the process. So putting these rest of these 3 screws back in. We've got the dash plastic. This is where that other piece is going to slide in. So you can go ahead and put that in. It's pretty self-explanatory how, again, that's only going to fit one way. So just look at how these things line up. Slide right in. You hear it click. I'm really good at hitting these hazard lights. That's it. So we're going to slide this back in. Get everything lined up. Then just with the back of your fist, just give it some light love taps to get those clips back in. Everything's neat and tidy. We've got 2 more of the Phillips head screws right down there. That is that. So now we're going to get our AC control system right back in. So line it up, kind of push it. Don't even have to have the love taps. Boom. Look at you. Look at you. You just replaced your own screen. You just saved yourself like $2,000 and you gave it an actual permanent fix. This issue is not going to happen again because of the screen you bought. Congratulations. If you have any other questions, leave me a comment and hopefully I can answer it well for you.